Depression is a mood disorder affecting hundreds of millions worldwide, and we're about to explore its definition, impact, and the devastating toll it takes on lives and economies. Depression is classified as a mood disorder, divided into 5 distinct categories, and marked by core features like persistent sadness, emptiness, and cognitive struggles that disrupt daily life. Globally, 5.7% of adults, about 332 million people, live with depression, and tragically, 727,000 individuals died by suicide in 2021. Women experience depression at nearly 7%, while men are affected at just under 5%, revealing a clear gender gap. There's reason for hope. At least 40% of people may achieve partial remission within a year, thanks to available treatments. Beyond destroying lives, depression places crushing burdens on individuals, families, and entire economies, creating ripple effects across society. In 2019 alone, major depressive disorder cost the U.S. economy over $333 billion, averaging nearly $17,000 per person. Remarkably, nearly 62% of that total cost, over $206 billion, came from non-healthcare spending rather than medical bills. These non-healthcare costs stem from presenteeism, absenteeism, unemployment, and the work-related impact on households living with someone who has depression. Now let's turn to the treatment landscape, where multiple approaches offer hope for managing and overcoming depression. SSRIs, the conventional go-to treatment, produce mixed results, and stopping them early can bump relapse rates up by 17%. Cognitive behavioral therapy works by helping people identify and change the negative thought patterns that fuel depression. CBT achieves 36% remission compared to just 15% in control groups, showing its clear advantage over standard care. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, which gently stimulates brain neurons, shows promise with a 52% response rate and 24% remission in recent trials. Ketamine infusion therapy delivers rapid antidepressant effects and notably reduces suicidal thoughts in people with major depression. Electroconvulsive therapy outperforms TMS with a 53% response rate versus 38%, making it one of the most effective options for resistant cases. ECT and ketamine show similar effectiveness, with response rates ranging from 41% to 63% and 46% to 55% respectively. Despite its strong track record, ECT's potential cognitive side effects keep many patients and doctors from choosing it more widely. Psilocybin-assisted therapy has emerged as a breakthrough treatment, offering a fresh approach to tackling depression with the compound found in magic mushrooms. Psilocybin is a serotonergic hallucinogen, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, that converts into psilocin once in the body. Studies show psilocybin-assisted therapy produces significant treatment effects, with effect sizes ranging from 1.69 to 2.10 in both short and long-term windows. Surprisingly, the effects of psychotherapy in psilocybin-assisted therapy appear superfluous, with symptom reductions depending almost exclusively on the substance alone. Access barriers mean 2/3 of people who need these treatments in high-income countries can't get them, raising serious concerns about global mental health equity. Resting state fMRI reveals the brain's functional architecture by capturing spontaneous activity patterns that reflect cognition, development, and disease. Resting state fMRI detects spontaneous low-frequency fluctuations across the cortex, which serve as neural signatures of how our brains work and what goes wrong in illness. These fluctuations organize into resting state networks, clusters like the default mode network, frontoparietal network, attention networks, and others that coordinate brain activity. A meta-analysis of 58 studies examined over 4,500 participants, including nearly 2,200 healthy controls and over 2,300 patients with depression. Researchers used seed-based analysis and independent component analysis, 2 complementary methods for mapping how brain networks connect and communicate. Let's start by looking at within-network changes, how depression alters connectivity inside individual brain networks. The default mode network shows both increased and decreased connectivity within itself, reflecting contradictory patterns of how its regions communicate. Hyperconnectivity in the left precuneus may drive elevated self-referential processing, the kind of inward focus that fuels depressive rumination. Reduced connectivity between the angular gyrus and middle temporal gyrus compromises how the brain integrates external information, impairing cognition. The frontoparietal network shows overall hyperconnectivity, especially in the left caudate nucleus, possibly reflecting the brain's attempt to compensate for disrupted reward processing. Now let's explore between-network changes, how depression disrupts communication between different brain networks. Increased connectivity between the default mode and frontoparietal networks, particularly in the frontal regions, may underlie uncontrollable negative thoughts. Weakened connectivity between the default mode and somatomotor networks suggests suboptimal processing of sensory and motor information, affecting how thought and movement coordinate. Limbic frontoparietal connections weaken, while limbic default mode links strengthen, showing opposing patterns that may reflect the brain's struggle to regulate heightened emotional processing. Attention networks show both increased and decreased connectivity, reflecting complex disruptions that make concentration difficult for people with depression. This circular diagram maps the brain's altered connectivity in depression, with red arcs showing hyperconnectivity and blue arcs showing hypoconnectivity across the default mode, frontoparietal, attention, somatomotor, and limbic networks. In Dante's Inferno, the seventh circle holds souls who committed suicide, offering a haunting medieval perspective on self-destruction that still resonates today. Dante journeys through hell guided by Virgil, the Roman poet who leads him through each circle of damnation. In the seventh circle's wood of suicides, souls are transformed into wailing trees with human faces, trapped in a dark forest. The savage spirit quits the body, Minos sends it to the seventh circle. It falls into the wood and sprouts as a sapling, forever denied the body it cast aside. Gustave Doré's haunting illustration captures the twisted forest where these souls languish eternally, with hybrid creatures and wandering figures in a dark, eerie landscape. When the functional architecture of your brain no longer fits together, you may find yourself pulled toward the metaphorical gravity of that seventh circle. As long as you keep trying to put the pieces of your life's puzzle back together, you may find that you always have something worth looking forward to.